The only thing preventing Lord of the Mysteries from succeeding is itself. All the pieces for that success are pretty much in place, so the only thing the producers need to do now is fit them all together properly. Like, before I was a bit concerned exclusivity would hinder its popularity, but now that it's confirmed to be streaming across multiple platforms worldwide, there should be no excuse as to why it won't pop off. It's even getting a simulcast in 7 different languages, so if you're one of those people planning not to watch it due to the language barrier, now you can enjoy it however you want. So, what then is Lord of Mysteries? Well, if you haven't watched the video I made earlier on it, it's a dark steampunk fantasy brilliantly crafted in a way that includes elements you don't typically get to see in an isekai. There's the base setting of a Victorian-era world layered with hidden mystical societies, a protagonist who stumbles into it and the dangerous supernatural hierarchy defining its power structure, a touch of cosmic horror adding flavors of dread and threats of the existential kind, then world-spanning conspiracies adding to the whole mystery of it. To get deeper than we did before though, let's start things off again with Klein. Klein is the person our protagonist reincarnates into, immediately after the original Klein just shot himself in the face. We don't know how or why he ended up as Klein, but what he quickly finds out is that this new world is far different from his old one. The industrial age Victorian era setting already sets it apart, but beyond that is a world of secret organizations, ancient churches, and even eldritch-like deities. So, where Klein is the person driving the narrative forward, the surrounding religious, political, and mystical conflicts create a world of depth unlike any other. What truly sets Lord of the Mysteries apart, though, is its meticulously crafted magic system depicting one of the best I've seen in any piece of fantasy. It's a system Klein naturally becomes entangled into, centering around a supernatural framework known as the Beyonder Pathways. Within this is 22 distinct routes of power, each with their own unique abilities, philosophies, and lingering threats of madness. I'll get deeper into what that means in just a second, but for now it's best to visualize these paths as a ladder. Each ladder has 9 steps, and every step one takes while on it brings them closer to godhood. Each step is referred to as a sequence, and every Beyonder starts at the weakest level of Sequence 9. It's from there they strive to ascend to Sequence 1, a level at which powers border even the divine. Now, these powers aren't gained by simply learning spells or becoming more proficient with them, they're acquired via a highly dangerous ritual system. You see, in order to advance from one sequence to the next, a Beyonder must first consume a special potion that aligns with their pathway. Successfully digesting it means ascending the ladder and gaining the new powers that come with it, while failure results in madness, death, or sometimes even horrific transformations. The overall success is dependent on a myriad of factors, but the most important is the requirement a Beyonder act in accordance with the core identity their pathway demands from them. What I mean is that it's not enough to simply be on one of the 22 pathways, a Beyonder must also embody their pathway's nature wholeheartedly. There's this whole psychological impact a pathway has on someone. At first it starts as just a minor compulsion or a brand new instinct, but the higher one climbs, the more the pathway's nature starts to affect them. Eventually the pathway's influence would become too overwhelming to even handle anymore, at which point one risks losing their sense of self and becoming someone totally different. This is why Beyonders adopt what's known as the acting method, since rather than become the archetype their pathway demands of them, they simply pretend to do so instead. It's a kind of psychological self-stabilization technique. Without it, the pathway's instincts and urges could very well take over, but with it, a clear line is kept between the pathway's identity and the person's. So, take for example a person on the hunter path. This, as you'd expect, requires its Beyonder to embrace their predatory instincts, something that might involve stalking, pursuing prey, or honing one's senses. The powers that come with it could be enhanced senses, superhuman reflexes, trap proficiency, or something else, but the risk of attaining those powers is the psychological shift towards that hunter archetype. Like, a hunter might start to see the world in terms of prey and predator, then from there could become increasingly bloodthirsty and competitive. Without the acting method to separate their true self from the hunter, there's a good chance they'd be overtaken by their more primal instincts. How then does a Beyonder avoid that? Well, by understanding the path they've entered into, they can deliberately act in a way that still satisfies the conditions required for being on it. The key, however, is not to over-immerse themselves within the act. So, A hunter can act as one by adopting the mental framework of a predator, specifically by taking regular jobs as a bounty hunter and actively putting themselves in situations where they can pursue someone. This allows them to think tactically and engage in the hunt, all while doing so in a way that's on their terms. The moment that hunter starts to pursue targets just for fun, though, that's when they should know the pathway's influence is starting to take over. So, for every path, there's an archetype for every sequence, meaning any Beyonder at any step would have to act in the way that archetype dictates. It's a system that's truly massive, extremely comprehensive, and diverse all the way through. And that doesn't even cover the unique power Klein himself has. I'll leave that and his own pathway to be discovered for when you watch the series yourself, but just remember how multifaceted everything is. It's not just X power layered onto X character. The two are carefully interwoven together in a way that affects their very identity. Then, madness isn't just a flat risk associated with that power, it's a constant threat that becomes greater the more one pursues it. The deeper a person dives into their sequence, the harder it becomes to distinguish their true self from the role they're playing. Now, the story does start out with some pretty basic detective work, but it's from there that it quickly grows into something bigger. With straight-up gods not even being the bottom of the iceberg, there's a whole world of mysteries to be discovered beyond that. So, it's Klein who becomes more and more entangled with them, leading him through a struggle not only with whatever forces he may stumble upon, but also one with himself. There's a delicate balance he's always maintaining that's constantly teetering between control and collapse. This is a large part of why Lord of the Mysteries stands out, since the foundation of it isn't simply about gaining strength. It's about managing risk, maintaining identity, and understanding the terrifying cost that comes with it. So, it's from this that the novel has crafted a world where every step forward is a gamble. Every ritual is a potential downfall, and every advancement a step closer to the truth behind it all. Now, why do I think Lord of the Mysteries can become the best anime this year? Well, aside from its in-depth magic system, masterful blending of genres, and complex world building, the marketing for it has showcased a level of animation we rarely get to see in anime. The first 2 episodes have already premiered in China, and from it, people have been praising the animation for its cinematic quality and jaw-dropping VFX sequences. So, if it looks anything like how it does in the trailers, then quality and style aren't anything worth worrying about. I mean, the director of the studio in charge has previously said that he's using this as a means to show 2D animation can still work, so from that alone you already know the amount of passion involved. The story itself isn't something I'm worried about either, but what is of course the pacing. This has always been an issue with any of the donghua I've watched, and it seems based on early reviews, Lord of the Mysteries will be no different. I don't know if it's just the way stories are portrayed in China, but compared to the slow burn we get with other shows, many might find the pace of this one to be a bit overwhelming, especially with the amount of information they need to fit within each 30-minute episode. The one thing that does give me hope though is that, as fast as the pacing may be, the author Cuttlefish has been part of the production process every step of the way. So, while he certainly understands the difficulty that comes with adapting a story like this, he of all people would know exactly what the viewer needs to see in order to understand his story best. That's why I'm not overly concerned with the pacing. I'm sure it might be a bit jarring at first, but over time I'm hoping it can immerse me the same way all the other anime I watch does. Plus, if there's anything you don't understand, just hop over here after the episode and I'll have a video most likely explaining everything. But anyway, with an amazing story, a massive pre-existing audience, a global distribution plan, localization for everyone, stellar animation, author supervision, the backing of Tencent, and multiple seasons already in the works, there's no reason for Lord of the Mysteries not to become one of the most popular anime. I truly hope it manages to pop off, since the success of a competitor like this might fuel higher quality anime in the future. In any case, if you're a fan of isekai, complex power systems, well-written narratives, or just good shows in general, I highly recommend checking out at least episode 1 of this. Even if you just watch shows for the sakuga, this is sure to have plenty of it. So, when episode 1 airs on June 28th, be sure to come back here and let me know what you thought about it. I'll have the first cut content video out on July 3rd, after which will be more weekly videos for each episode after. If you're still on the fence though, let us know down in the comments, and I'm sure one of the many Lord of the Mysteries fans can help persuade you otherwise. But anyway, until next time, ciao.